This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Well, we're just about done with the show. This is Turn 4. It's salvaged by Kaziski Auto Parts. Looking for quality used parts to get your car or truck back on the road? Give an experienced salesperson a call today, Kaziski Auto Parts. Let them help you find the right part to get your car or truck back on the road in running condition. Give Andrew or any one of the salespeople a call today. It's 402-731-4592. You can also stop by 50th and I Street there in Omaha.
Andrew, do you guys ever run like specials or anything like that, or sale prices on stuff? I've always wondered that.
Yeah, there's been times we threw something on our Facebook page, or we're getting that new website up. So sooner or later we've done a few things. We've had a few mail outs, everything like that, a few emails. Anybody that instant messages us always gets a discount or anything, because we're trying to get shops to do that. Just any kind of goofy thing we do.
I didn't even know you guys had a Facebook. Was it just
Kaziski Auto Parts? Yep.
We'll have to make sure to be a fan of that.
There you go. If you ever need a dipstick, for your Ford Ranger.
I've got 2 dipsticks in the studio with me. I don't need any more.
Well, we're just wanting to make sure we're checking.
You're talking Roger and Bud, right?
Well, Kansas, as we have talked about a couple of times, we got to interview Pat Warren, the president of Kansas Speedway, got his take on the repave. Now it's time to get Andrew Kaziski's take on the repave and the redesign. I think the redesign is the thing everyone's looking forward to the most.
Well, I think after the 4th or 6th time I went there, out of about the 12 races, or they might have been longer than that, I've been to so many races there, I don't think it's ever changed. It's consistently been the guy out front is way out front. I think last year in October when you guys were there, they could have went without a yellow.
Yeah.
I don't even think they had a car wreck on the track. And I'm not saying I want to see cars wreck, but they need to have the track. They said they're going to try to suit it to where you can get 2 wide racing there with ease. But again, this last race wasn't even good. Truex gave a run. The one race, Carl about did a slide job on, who was it, Jimmy? Jimmy about won the show. That was the best race there, but where was 3rd place? 10 seconds back. It just is not good racing in a place like Kansas where there's a lot of NASCAR fans around this area.
And that seems to be the MO for Kansas. It seems to be clean air gets you about, 4/10 of a second faster than everyone else. And it's within the green flag throw in about 5 laps. The leader has built up 4, maybe 5 second lead. And it's just, that's not good racing. And everyone just kind of seems to settle in. And like Andrew talked about, there's been a couple of races where 1st and 2nd place we're kind of battling a little bit, but then you look back and 3rd place is 9 seconds behind the leader. And it's like, that's just not good racing. It's not entertaining. It's not fun. And they've got to do something about it. And hopefully what they've put in this progressive banking will help.
Yeah, NASCAR, I think it's Bristol we were talking about earlier this season was repaving their track also. NASCAR's really got to get on the ball and work with these tracks. We've talked here, I think it was Turn 1 and Turn 2, about what happened last night at Richmond. And had you taken all of, your Mickey Mouse restart issues with Carl Edwards, Dan, and if you take away the Jimmy Johnson stuff and a yellow flag for a water bottle, how boring of a race would that be? Once again, the cars are coming off the track looking like they just rolled off the showroom floor.
Yeah, and that's kind of one thing that I was talking about with, as a Tony Stewart fan, I didn't like the caution, but as a NASCAR fan, I thought it was more appropriate because Tony had built up a 4-second lead over Kyle Busch. He was absolutely just schooling the field on those long runs. So they had to come out and throw the caution, and that adds controversy. It adds a bit of a conversation the next day. But as the fan of that driver that kind of got shafted because of that caution, it stinks for me. But, I guess I don't know exactly where I land on that whole deal, when to throw the caution.
You come back around to Kansas City and repaving the track to make, for a better racing, excitement and a better race overall. The fans pay their hard-earned money to come out here. And Andrew, you said it best before we went back on air during the break. Nobody wants to see these drivers, wreck and destroy their cars and whatnot. But it's really, really boring. We're all 3 NASCAR fans. Andrew and I are drivers. Dan, you're a wannabe. But, it's really boring to pay your $75 to go to Kansas City, to Kansas Speedway, and just watch, follow the leader, no passing, no nothing. And NASCAR has really got to step up and say, hey, look, we got to get, the stands are emptying, ticket sales are down, ratings are down. This is why. So I'm all for any track being repaved. and a lot of times it does help the racing. I just wish the track's surface and the track configurations could have been what they were back in the 80s. I think in the 80s, Andrew, you were just a little boy back in the 80s.
I wasn't even around in the 80s, bud.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
I was being thought of, I think. I wasn't around, though.
You're a twinkle in your mama's eye.
There you go.
Let's stop there. We're still live. Bud, you get going a little bit too far sometimes. So, Andrew, the repaves, and guys, as dirt track guys, the redesign is going to be progressive banking. So it's going to go from, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's going to go from 11 up to 20 degrees. Talk to me about how that's going to help the racing.
Well, they're going to be able to use, I think, the outside a little better than what they have been before. I mean, without that flat surface, they're just all trying to squeeze in and run around the bottom. And there's been times where you could see Junior, he runs good around the top at there. And we really saw Hamlin and Truex run real strong around the top there 2-3 weeks ago, whatever it was. But now, I mean, I think they're trying to make it that the top would be just as fast as the bottom so that they can get more passing and squeezing in there. I think this is a great deal they're going to try to do. And hopefully, I bet you next race it's going to be a full crowd just to see what did they do to the track. Is this going to work? If not, if it's the same as what they always have, it's just going to slowly keep inclining. I mean, it's
so you're going to see that high line, that momentum coming off the high line and getting the momentum headed back to the start-finish line. That's what you're going to see along with the faster lower line.
I think that's what they're aiming for.
Remember when we went on the 7th, I think it was the 7th of April when IAD raced their spring thaw, or I believe it was the spring thaw. Remember we were up there with Stan Caesars in the announcer booth, and I was showing you how the guys were coming off the high line.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should see at Kansas City, and that's really, really fun to watch.
And there's a couple of tracks that are like that. Texas is like that, where you can get that run off the high line. And it just makes it that much more difficult because then you've got two lines. It's not just one dedicated line that's extremely fast, and then the rest of the track is slower. And I think Kansas is a little bit ahead of the ball here, too, when we talk about the repave. Some people were saying that it didn't need it. Well, I think Saturday morning they realized, oh, yes, they did, last Saturday morning, because they had to do some patchwork coming out of, I believe, Turn 3. There was some pavement that came up because of the Nationwide or the truck race.
Weren't they saying that the possible speeds of Kansas after the repave 215, something like that?
Yeah, that with the new asphalt and the cooler temperatures that they could see with an early season race, it could get extremely fast. And that would be, I mean, obviously they're probably going to restrictor plate it because they don't want a speedway to be faster than their super speedways. But yeah, the testing could be off the roof. Like they went to Michigan a couple of weeks ago, just did some simple tire testing, no restrictors, and I believe Jeff Gordon was putting up
225.
I saw 225, but I didn't quite believe it. I think maybe that might have been a typo because that is ungodly
they're
fast.
Sensationalizing it is what they're doing.
But they said that it was an official 225 speed, but I think I don't know, maybe they meant 215. That's more realistic, but 225,
that's uncalled for.
Yeah. I don't know how you'd make it stick, honestly.
Ask Danica, she came from IRL. But then again, so did Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
So.
But those cars have got a heck of a lot more grip than the NASCAR cars do. So, Kansas set to repave. They'll be ready to go for their October race. I'm excited for it. I know I'm going to definitely make my best shot at getting down there, getting some tickets to go down there and see some racing. So we hope to see you guys down there. As far as recapping for the show, we thank everybody for coming out today. Roger Hayden, thank you so much for joining us in studio this morning. Getting up after a late night at Eagle. I know, Bud, he was kind of in the same boat as you. He had a late night, and yet he was able to get up just fine and sound spry. So thank you, Roger, for coming out today. We really appreciate it.
Dan calls me. You up yet? No.
Yeah.
WWE.
Something about WWE. And squirrels. I don't know what you were talking about with the squirrel, but we won't get into that. So thank you for Roger for coming out today. We really appreciate you joining us. Head over to EagleRaceway.com to get yourself information on when that World of Outlaw race is rescheduled. Full schedules, full races, everything is up on EagleRaceway.com. I believe there's even pictures of the 25 Joe's Karting car on there, isn't there?
Well, I don't know if they're up yet. I do know there was quite a few of them taken, though. I was putting that car in spots that you should probably – I actually went 4 wide on the bottom. There's the low line at Eagle, Andrew, and I'm below the low line. The car is sitting completely dead level flat. That's how far down on the infield I was last night. Guys were like, Bud, you don't go 4 wide in the corners here. almost like you don't go 3 wide at Martinsville.
You don't go 2 wide at Martinsville.
Or 2 wide. Well, I'll go 4 wide.
Oh,
at
so you're agreeing you don't go 3 wide at Martinsville. Thank you for proving my point. But you don't go 2 wide at Martinsville.
I've gone 4 wide at Martinsville.
In case you guys out there haven't noticed, Bud and I like to argue. So this is an ongoing Martinsville fight from when Clint Boyer wrecked the other 2 cars and ruined his race. So
Dan's the most glorified backseat stock car driver I ever knew.
We gotta wrap it up. Thanks everybody for joining us. Make sure you head over to the Facebook page and answer the Facebook trivia question for today. What's the winningest number in NASCAR history for the Cup Series? Make sure you head over to the Facebook page and answer that, and we'll get yourself a 3 karting to Joe's Karting. Get yourself a 3-pack to Joe's Karting, and get some great racing. And this has been the Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting. For Bud, Andrew, and myself, Dan Taylor, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the track.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Summer is just around the corner, and that means your cooling system is going to be put to the test. Getting your car in for a radiator flush and air conditioner coolant recharge will save you a headache when we start seeing triple-digit temperatures. Kevin and the crew at Auto Connection will also service your car, which can increase your MPG and help you save at the gas pump. Located at 21st and P in Lincoln, online at autorepairlincolnne.com. Call 402-477-8200 to schedule an appointment today.
Hi, I'm Buddy Ray, driver of the number 25 Party Pantry Modified. When I'm headed to the track or my family needs a fill-up, we all head down to the Party Pantry, locally owned and operated just off the beaten path in Council Bluffs on 35th and 5th Avenue. Party Pantry has some of the area's best prices on food, snacks, beer, and gas, and has a great liquor selection. So stop by and see the whole crew at 35th and 5th Avenue in Council Bluffs, just off the beaten path, where you're treated like family with a name, and you're not just a stranger.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Become a fan of the Front Stretch on Facebook or email Dan, Buddy, and Andrew at frontstretch590am@gmail.com.